Hi everyone, I'm going to talk about the manga and anime movement. First of all, what are manga and anime? There is no short answer for this question, so here's the long one. Many people might say manga are Japanese comics and anime is the Japanese version of animation. Anime is usually, but not always, the animated version of popular manga. That's partially true, but it can be rather misleading. First of all, anime in Japan technically means any animated film, and manga is any printed cartoon, but people in the rest of the world take them to mean animated films or comics from Japan. Secondly, though an outsider might think that Japan stole comics from the West, that is not true. Japan has been making cartoonish art for a very long time. It's true that some of the aspects of manga are taken from the West, but its main features such as simple lines and stylized features are distinctly Japanese. It may be that Chinese art has more influence than the Western. Though there are many fine works of manga and anime being produced in many places around the world, its roots are in Japan, and Japan is still considered the center of the anime world. History of manga. The history of manga is said to originate from scrolls dating back to the 10th century. However, whether these scrolls are actually manga is still disputed, though it is believed they represent the basis for the right-to-left reading style. The Zen cartoons of the medieval period and the comic animal scrolls of the 10th century were the very first examples of manga. In the 13th century, pictures of the afterlife and animals started appearing on temple walls and are similar to modern manga. From here, manga started to branch out to many other subjects. The manga drawn on wooden blocks in 1600s was known as Edo. Edo was often graphically erotic but branched out to encompass other subjects like buildings and satire. In 1815, the term manga came into existence, mang meaning whimsical and ga meaning picture. The next kind of manga emerging in the 16th century was ink-brushed illustrated prints with captions, but it lacked a progressive story. Tezuka debuted with a comic book in 1947, The New Treasure Island. New Treasure Island sold an unprecedented 400,000 copies, changing the face of manga forever. In 1963, Tetsuwan Atomo, Astro Boy was released. This was the first anime. Astro Boy was a robot that wished to be a real boy. Next hit in the anime world was Speed Racer in 1967. Tezuka's greatest work was Hi no Tori, or The Bird of Fire. The period between the 1980 and 1990 is considered the golden period of anime. By 1990s, anime was influenced by Western culture, a cross-pollination that enriched and complicated anime. At about this time, anime was getting a bad reputation. Shoujo manga. In 1969, a group of women manga artists, later called the Year 24 Group, made their shoujo manga debut. The group included famous artists like Hagio Moto, Ryoko Ikeda, Yumiko Oshima, etc. These women artists also created considerable stylistic innovations. In its focus on the heroine's inner experience and feelings, shoujo manga are picture poems with delicate and complex designs. The next categories that come under manga are shonen, seinen, and seiji manga. Manga for male readers can be characterized in different ways. One is by the age of its intended audience. In that way, shonen manga is meant for boys up to the age of 18. Seinen is for the boys between the age of 18 and young men up to the age of 30. And seiji manga refers to sexually overt manga aimed at grown men, and it's also called adult manga. Another approach is by content, including action-adventure often involving male heroes, slapstick humor, themes of honor, and sometimes explicit sexuality. Sports themes are also popular in manga for male readers. These stories stress self-discipline, depicting not only the excitement of sports competition but also character traits the hero needs to transcend his limitations and to triumph. Supernatural settings have been another source of action-adventure plots in shonen and some shoujo manga in which the hero must master challenges. Although stories about modern war and weapons do exist, they deal much more with the psychological and moral problems rather than sheer violence. Now about sex and women's roles in manga for males. In early shonen manga, men and boys played all the major roles, with women and girls having only auxiliary places as sisters or mothers or occasional girlfriends. However, by 1980s, the girls and women began to play increasingly important roles in shonen manga. For example, Toriyama's Dr. Slump, whose main character is a mischievous and powerful girl robot, Arale Norimaki. The role of girls and women in manga for male readers has evolved considerably since Arale. Heavily armed female warriors represent another class of girls and women in the manga for male readers. With the relaxation of censorship in Japan after the early 1990s, a wide variety of explicitly drawn sexual themes appear in manga intended for male readers that correspondingly occur in English translations. In some cases, rape and lust murder themes come to the forefront, as in the Blue Catalyst from 1994 by Kei Taniguchi, but these extreme themes are not commonplace in either untranslated or translated manga. Gekiga. Gekiga literally means drama pictures and refers to a form of aesthetic realism in manga. Gekiga style drawing is emotionally dark, often starkly realistic, sometimes very violent, and focuses on the day-in, day-out grim realities of life, often drawn in gritty and ugly fashions. Gekiga arose in the late 1950s and 1960s partly from the left-wing student and working class political activism and partly from the aesthetic dissatisfaction of the young manga artists like Yoshihiro Tatsumi with existing manga. Examples include Sanpei Shirato's Chronicles of a Ninja's Military Accomplishments. Let us now look at how manga and anime stand out from the normal comics and cartoons. First, I'll talk about the manga iconography. Japanese manga has developed its own visual language or iconography for expressing emotion and other internal character traits. This drawing style has also migrated into anime as many stories are adapted into television and shows and films. The popular and recognizable style of manga is very distinctive. Emphasis is often placed on line over form, and the storytelling and panel placement differ from those in American comics. Impressionistic backgrounds are very common, as are sequences in which the panel shows details of the setting rather than the characters. Panel and pages are typically read from right to left, consistent with traditional Japanese writing. Because manga is a diverse art form, however, not all manga artists adhere to the conventions. There are several expressive techniques typical to the manga art form, such as the screen tone, expressive dialogue bubbles, speed lines, mini flashbacks, and abstract background effects. Hair colors of anime characters aren't selected randomly; in some cases they express significant elements of that person's character. For example, Black stands for power, evil, emptiness, sadness, mystery. White for purity, simplicity, peace, humility, cold, heaven. Blue for peace, calm, stability, dependability. Purple for royalty, wisdom, spirituality. Red for passion, joy, aggression, energy. And pink for femininity, purity, love, kindness, etc. Now let us look at how manga or anime differ from Disney movies and Disney cartoons. Disney movies and cartoons have always revolved around fairy tales and happily ever after endings. The very logo of Disney shows a castle situated in some faraway land. Disney has always focused on familial values and moral uprightness. They focus on love, trust, faith, sacrifice, believing in miracles, etc. Nice as they sound, they are so far removed from reality. Walt Disney has always focused on portraying stories that end well. Though the Disney characters face certain pains like the loss of a parent or some minor setback, in the end they always end up realizing their dreams and finding the perfect one. The kids are never made to realize that life is not a fairy tale and that the prince charmings or princesses never come in search of them or that not all dreams come true. Disney movies choose to sugarcoat such facts and make the children believe that in the end, everything in life turns out to be perfect. Also, the Disney characters are always perfect. They are handsome, pretty, they are brave, they have the ability to sing and dance and paint, etc. etc. They are never flawed, unlike normal human beings. The movie makers also make it a point that the characters are covered up well and do not reveal more than what is necessary, unlike the characters in manga and anime. Perhaps it is the mix of harsh reality with the tantalizing world of fantasy that makes Japanese manga and anime so appealing. Many popular series such as Doraemon, Ranma 1x2, and Kimagure Orange Road follow the lives of seemingly ordinary people. Like they go to school, do homework, they get reprimanded by their parents. But they also have a shadow life that makes them somehow special, whether by science, talent, or friends who are from outer space. I suppose all this serves to allow reader to sympathize with characters and yet escape from bland, normal daily life to a fantasy world that is far different. Even in worlds that exist in far future or long ago, the reader is drawn into a three-dimensional character, one who is far from perfect, one who has stupid little habits or major character flaws, and who has hopes and dreams that the reader can sympathize with. Unlike some American superheroes, who often seem to just go around defeating evil, Japanese characters usually have other goals in life that play larger themes within their lives. In manga and anime, the characters aren't forced into plots. Stories grow out of the characters. The heart of manga and anime is in the hearts of the characters. That brings us to three other aspects of manga and anime that I really like: the reality of the world, the spirituality, and the fact that things end. Even children's Japanese comics and animation deal with things like death. They also show that one's enemies aren't just evil. In series like Gundam, you can see that the enemies have hopes and dreams of their own, and do in fact have reasons for what they do. They aren't just crazy or just plain evil, they are real. Secondly, actions have consequences. If the protagonist screws up, he or she has to deal with the results. The characters grow and change, learn new skills, get better at old skills, mature and gain wisdom. And finally, like all good stories and all real stories, manga and anime have a tendency to end. Heroes and heroines die, or get married, or disappear. The anime series are especially good about this. They tend to have one of three endings: the hero wins, the hero dies, or the hero sort of wins. The anime or manga are often carefully crafted to either jerk tears out of your eyes or make you stare in wide-eyed absorption to the very last line of the credits. I can't actually describe the feeling, but think of a think of the ending of a really good movie and you'll know what I'm talking about. But like any feeling, manga and anime have their lemons. The ones with no plot, 2D characters, truly tasteless jokes, and artwork from hell. However, the best manga and anime are true gems that should not be missed. Little portals into other worlds that will entertain, educate, and delight.